The quiet kid is often the most misunderstood person in the room. In classrooms, families, and social groups, silence is frequently mistaken for emptiness, weakness, or a lack of interest. Yet behind that quiet exterior usually exists a rich inner world filled with observation, imagination, sensitivity, and deep thought. The psychology of a quiet kid is not defined by absence, but by depth. Understanding this inner landscape reveals that silence is not a flaw to be fixed, but a language of its own. From an early age, quiet children learn that the world is loud. Classrooms reward fast answers, group activities emphasize participation, and social success is often measured by visibility. In such environments, the quiet child begins to stand out not because they are doing something wrong, but because they are doing something different. They are watching while others speak, listening while others perform, and thinking while others react. Their silence becomes a shield, a refuge, and sometimes a burden. One of the core psychological traits of a quiet kid is heightened observation. Quiet children tend to notice details others overlook. They pick up on tone shifts, facial expressions, and emotional undercurrents in conversations. While louder children may dominate discussions, the quiet kid is absorbing information, piecing together patterns, and forming conclusions internally. This deep observation often leads to advanced emotional intelligence, even if the child struggles to express it outwardly. Many quiet kids develop strong inner worlds. When external expression feels unsafe, unrewarded, or exhausting, the mind turns inward. Imagination becomes a companion. Thoughts become conversations. Daydreams become stories. This internal richness can be a powerful strength, fueling creativity, empathy, and insight. However, it can also become a hiding place when the child feels unseen or misunderstood by others. A common misconception is that quiet kids lack confidence. In reality, quietness and insecurity are not the same thing. Some quiet children are deeply confident in who they are, but simply do not feel the need to perform socially. Others may struggle with self-doubt, especially if their silence is criticized or mocked. When a child is repeatedly told to speak up, be more social, or stop being shy, they may internalize the belief that something is wrong with them. Over time, this can erode self-esteem not because they are quiet but because they are not accepted as they are. Quiet kids are often highly sensitive to stimulation. Noise, chaos, and constant interaction can overwhelm their nervous systems. Psychologically, this sensitivity means they process experiences more deeply. A single comment can linger in their mind for days. A moment of embarrassment can replay endlessly. A small act of kindness can be remembered for years. This depth of processing makes quiet kids emotionally rich, but also emotionally vulnerable. In social settings, the quiet kid often prefers meaningful connection over casual interaction. Small talk feels draining, while deep conversations feel energizing. They may struggle in group dynamics but thrive in one-on-one relationships. This preference is sometimes mistaken for social incompetence, when in fact it reflects a selective approach to connection. Quiet kids are not antisocial, they are intentional. School environments can be particularly challenging for quiet children. Participation-based grading, group projects, and public presentations can create anxiety and self-doubt. When intelligence is measured by how quickly or loudly a child responds, quiet kids may be underestimated. Yet many of them excel in written work, independent projects, and subjects that require deep focus. Their intelligence is reflective rather than reactive. The quiet kid often develops a strong sense of empathy. Because they spend so much time observing and listening, they become attuned to the emotions of others. They notice who is left out, who is struggling, and who is pretending to be okay. This empathy can make them compassionate friends, but it can also lead to emotional exhaustion. Quiet kids may absorb the pain of others without knowing how to release it. Loneliness is a complex theme in the psychology of a quiet kid. Some quiet children enjoy solitude and feel at peace when alone. Others experience loneliness not because they lack people, but because they feel unseen. Being surrounded by others does not guarantee connection. For the quiet kid, loneliness often comes from not being understood rather than not being included. Many quiet kids grow up feeling pressure to change. Society often rewards extroversion, confidence, and assertiveness, subtly implying that quietness is something to outgrow. This pressure can lead to internal conflict. The child may try to force themselves into a louder version of who they are, leading to exhaustion and identity confusion. Alternatively, they may retreat further into silence as a form of self-protection. Silence, for a quiet kid, is often a coping mechanism. It can be a way to avoid conflict, judgment, or rejection. Speaking up carries risk. Silence feels safer. Over time, this pattern can solidify, making it difficult for the individual to express needs, boundaries, or emotions later in life. What begins as quietness can evolve into emotional suppression, if not supported with understanding and acceptance. At the same time, quiet kids often develop remarkable resilience. Navigating a world that does not always accommodate their nature teaches them self-reliance and inner strength. They learn to find validation within themselves rather than seeking constant external approval. This resilience may not look dramatic, but it is steady and enduring. Creativity is another common trait among quiet children. Their inner worlds provide fertile ground for artistic expression. Writing, drawing, music, and imaginative play become outlets for thoughts and feelings that are difficult to verbalize. Many artists, writers, and thinkers trace their creativity back to a childhood spent observing quietly and imagining deeply. The relationship between a quiet child and authority figures is significant. When parents and teachers respect a child's quiet nature, the child feels safe and valued. When authority figures dismiss or pressure the child may learn to associate their natural disposition with shame. Supportive adults who listen without forcing, encourage without pushing, and validate without comparison can profoundly shape a quiet child's psychological well-being. As quiet kids grow into adolescence, their inner complexity often intensifies. Identity questions, emotional sensitivity, and social expectations collide. Many quiet teens struggle with being overlooked or stereotyped. Some are labeled as aloof, arrogant, or uninterested, when in reality they are overwhelmed or introspective. This misunderstanding can deepen feelings of isolation during an already vulnerable developmental stage. In adulthood, the quiet kid often becomes a thoughtful, introspective individual. They may excel in careers that require focus, creativity, analysis, or empathy. Their listening skills make them trusted confidants. Their reflective nature makes them wise decision-makers. However, unresolved childhood experiences of being silenced or misunderstood can manifest as difficulty asserting themselves or advocating for their needs. Healing for the quiet kid begins with self-acceptance. Understanding that quietness is a temperament, not a deficiency, allows the individual to reclaim their voice on their own terms. Speaking does not have to mean shouting. Presence does not have to mean performance. Strength does not have to be loud. The psychology of a quiet kid reminds us that human value is not measured by volume. Silence can hold insight, compassion, and depth. Quiet children are not waiting to become someone else. They are already whole. When given space, respect, and understanding, they grow into individuals who bring calm to chaos, depth to conversation, and meaning to connection. In a world that often confuses noise with importance, the quiet kid teaches a powerful lesson. Sometimes the most profound voices are the ones that speak softly, or not at all, yet leave a lasting impact simply by being present.